Okay, so different style of video today. I thought I would do like a recap of my 2 events in Egypt. Firstly, the Black Ball Open and then El Gouna. A little bit different style to my normal vlog. I'm gonna go over what the tournament involved, how I felt, go through some analysis of the matches, and yeah, just talk about my experience in Egypt actually. So starting off with Black Ball, I actually travelled from Heathrow straight to Cairo. Got picked up by the organisers, which was a very smooth journey to the hotel, and then the hotel was super nice. Got looked after very well. My first round match was against Omar Mossad from Egypt, and actually at his home club. So I knew going into this match it would be a tough game and it'd be a good win if I could get through it. I'd actually played Mossad twice before this. I'd beaten him once and lost him once, both very tough and long matches. So I knew it would be a tough game. I had a couple of practice days just when I got there, which set me up nicely for the match. And then it was just mainly getting used to that glass court, because in Black Ball the glass court was very fast. I felt like the front ball was super quick, and it was difficult to find your range at the front of the court. I did notice later on in the rounds that the court conditions actually cooled down a little bit. It was just about, for me, making sure I was getting used to the court and finding my lines and my targets on that court against someone like Mossad. So yeah, I played him on the Thursday night, last match of the evening. He had all his kind of friends and family there watching, and there's obviously no support for me there, so I kind of went through it by myself. Luckily I had one friend with me, Hani Abu Taleb. He was there helping me, relaying some advice from back home. Yeah, started off really well in the first game. I thought I was playing the better squash, managed to get through that one, and then in the second game I doubled the lead, and I felt like I was moving the ball around intelligently, making him do some hard movements, playing the way I wanted to tactically, like the way I planned to before I come out here to Egypt, so which was good. And in the third game, it was all going really well. Again, got off to a good start, and I even had a 10-9 match ball, so I felt like I could have won 3-love. But with someone like Omar's experience, he was able to claw his way back into force a tiebreak in that one, and then he actually ended up sneaking that game, I think 15-13. So I had a couple of match balls there and I couldn't convert them. It was frustrating, but I don't feel like I let the points go with silly errors or anything. I just felt like he outplayed me in some of the areas, and maybe I went a bit too passive, because you still need to look for those volleys and hunt and play you away. Otherwise, they're going to come on top of you because they've got nothing to lose at that point. Fourth game, he kind of ran away with it a little bit. I clawed my way back to, I think, 7 or 8-10, and then he won the last point on like I thought was a poor decision. And then I had to reset from there, and said to myself at the start of the fifth, if I want to win this match, I've just got to go back to the basics, what I did in the first couple of games, and just really draw out the rallies and make it long and hard for him, because I knew physically going into it I was feeling good. So I was hoping that if I just extended the rallies out, didn't make any errors, hit my targets, the back corners, then I'd get some opportunities around the middle to actually attack him and get myself back in front. And I did. Actually, that last game we were kind of nip and tuck through the whole way. It was like point for point stuff, and I felt like I managed it pretty well at the back end of the game, because someone like Omar, he has so much experience being a world championship runner-up, that I knew trying to close off a fifth game like that would be hard. And I had a couple more match balls, and I managed to convert the last one at like 12-11 to take the fifth game 13-11 in almost 90 minutes. So I was pleased to get through that one. And then the next day I had to try and recover and play for rag. So that finished. One thing I want to add as well with the Mossad match, that match finished around like 9:45 at night. So this is something you guys might not see that goes on behind the scenes, is that I have to try and cool down, recover, kind of calm my nervous system down, then get bus back to the hotel. So I got back to the hotel around 10:30. I needed to then stretch again and shower. By the time that's like 11:15, needed to go and eat and refuel and get some food in me. So luckily the hotel restaurants was open until late. So I ended up eating at 11:30 at night. Then you got to let your food digest a little bit, and then you got to get to sleep. So you don't get to bed till around 1 AM, And even then, your mind's still racing about what happened in the match and how it went. You can't really let the thoughts go about, because I've just played a match and then I'm thinking about my next match the next day. So it's really hard to switch off when you're playing that late at night. That's something people don't give the players enough credit for. So in the end, I managed to get about 6 hours sleep, which was just about enough. And it was mainly the case of just making sure I was fresh enough to go and play Farag in the evening again. With Farag, I knew it would be a good opportunity for me if I beat Mossad to play Farag. World #1, best player of the season so far, one of the all-time greats. So for me, this is like a childhood dream come true to play someone like Ali. I've definitely, so starting off with the match, I definitely feel like I got off to a good quick start. I kind of got the first few points and set him on the back foot a little bit, forced him to play even higher quality to catch back up. And then we got into a tie break, and unfortunately he took the first game 12-10. When you're playing someone like Farag, he's so good at making you stretch out into the court so far. So he leaves the ball really short, really wide, really deep. So you always feel like you're under pressure, and he's so good at volleying that you've got to focus on getting the ball past him as much as possible. He's probably one of the best volleys in the game at the moment, and that's one of his super strengths, and his movement's second to none. Like, you feel like you've got him on the end of a tough rally, and he's able to turn it around sometimes quite comfortably, which is a little bit frustrating. But to get to that next level for me, I've got to keep applying the pressure even when they're getting the ball back, and getting it back of interest is like reset and go again. Otherwise they're just going to keep nipping the end of each point, and then all of a sudden you're on the back foot. So I ended up losing the match 3-love in about 42 minutes. I don't think I played badly. I was annoyed about the second game because I let him run away a bit too much. I'll try to go toe-to-toe with him and put too much pace into the game, and he feeds off that. So that was a real learning curve, was for me to stick to my original plan. Even though it might not allow me to win at this stage, it's going to allow me to get as close as possible to someone like Farag, which is a good lesson. So yeah, that was the end of the black ball tournament. I stayed on for the rest of the week and watched all the matches, which was quite nice. But throughout that, I managed to, between black ball and Gouna, I stayed in Egypt and actually trained at some various different clubs around Cairo and New Cairo, and managed to get some good practice matches in ready for Gouna, which I think for me was a better option than flying back home for 6 days. So I managed to go and see the Gazira club, where it's got a lot of legends there that played at the Cairo Stadium where Rami Ashur used to train. Obviously trained at Black Ball, and I visited some other areas in Egypt, which was quite nice. I had practice matches with Leonel Cardenas from Mexico, Marwan El Shabagi and Tariq Momin. So I had 3 really good games there, all different styles of player, just to get me ready for my next tournament in Gouna. I definitely felt like that preparation was perfect for me, because you don't get those quality matches at home, and the stuff that you learned in the previous tournament, you can bring it straight into training the next day or the 2 days after, so that it's fresh in your mind and you can go on and work on them. So that was quite nice. I had a good friend, like I said, Hani, who showed me around Egypt a little bit. We had some nice food and saw some of the local places, which was really nice. For me, I really enjoyed Egypt. It's a very different culture and experience, but one that I settled into quite nicely. And I actually stayed with Omar Mossad for a couple of nights before heading off to Gouna. I then flew to Gouna on the Wednesday, and it's a very short flight from Cairo to Hurghada, and then we got picked up again by the tournament organisers, which was great. Had a couple of days training before playing my first round. So my original draw was to play Nicholas Muller on the normal courts. If I were to win that match, it would have been probably Kandra or Faraz Khan, and then it would have been to play Farag. So that was the potential draw had I won the first 2 rounds. And then about 18 to 20 hours before my first round match, Karim Al-Hamami pulled out, so that meant I moved up to a top 32 seed, and my draw completely changed. So then I came in to play Bernat Jaume from Spain, who was in really good form actually going into the event, and then that was to play Farag again. So a big shift in my preparation, because I put a lot of mental focus and game planning on playing Nicholas Muller for my first match, and to have that all of a sudden just shaken up and changed with less than a day was a shock. But I knew that if I could adapt quickly and change my plan and start watching Bernat, then I knew that I'd have the game and skills to try and beat someone like Bernat. Yeah, on that Friday morning we played early match, 12:45. Started off really well in the first couple of points. We were neck and neck 2-all, and then all of a sudden I got hit in the eye. But that kind of like put a little halt to things. It was a bit of a disruption because I've never really had anything like that before. And so I got cut, it started bleeding a little bit. So the physio needed to attend to it. It was about a 10-minute injury break. And then you've got to refocus and go again because the other guy's been on court keeping warm and you're just sat there trying to get yourself treated. So you've got to get yourself back ready. And unfortunately, I lost the first game 11-9. I wasn't really finding my range on the court. I didn't adapt quick enough as well in the first game to the court conditions. I felt like I went in thinking it was going to be quite warm and bouncy, but it's actually a lot colder and deader because they ramped the aircon right up, which meant that in the second game I adjusted the tactics a little bit, started firing the ball in shorter and quicker, and that paid off a little bit. Managed to win that 11-9. In the third game I carried on with the same plan, went 5-1 up. I just completely lost focus and lost that game 11-9. He started attacking the front of the court a little bit more. He was volleying really well, put him under a lot of pressure, but unfortunately I made too many errors and let the guy back in, which at this level you can't afford to do because these guys have got just as much experience as you have, and Burnout was on good form, so I knew that he'd be well up for it and he'd be trying to maximise every opportunity he had. And then the fourth game I really had to kind of switch up the tactics. Luckily I had Joel Makin in my corner helping me out, and he gave me a couple of things to focus on for the fourth game, and the idea was to take the ball in short a little bit more, use my straight drop a bit more, and use some more lifts. So it was more of like a lob kind of drop game with some holds, and it worked out really well. And I ended up winning the last games 11-4, 11-4, and that got me the win. So I won 3-2. Yeah, nice early match, which means I could recover throughout the whole day. And the weather in Gouna was second to none. It was sunny, lovely. You could go outside, recover, stretch by the pool, get some good food in the local area, and then yeah, just chill out, ready for the next match and the day after. And that was again against Farag. So that meant I was playing Farag twice in the space of 8 days. I mean, I'd never even played, well, a top 5 player until recently with Gouna, and then Farag in twice in a week. So three matches there in the space of a few weeks is great for my development and experience on the squash court. Yeah, so with Farag, I learned a lot from the match in Blackball, and I tried to apply as much as what I learned in the match at Gouna. This time it was on the traditional court, so it's a bit different conditions, and actually the court was a bit warmer than the day before, so again you had to adjust to that scenario. With Farag, I tried to implement my game a bit more last time than trying to play with him, because you can get drawn into playing someone else's style quite easily, especially if they're on top of you. I tried to approach the match in a way that would allow me to win. Not saying that I can beat him yet, but I tried to play in a tactical sense that would give me a chance to win and try and expose some of his weaknesses and take away some of his strengths, and then play to my strengths. The first game was 11-9, second game was 11-5, and the last game was 11-8. Although the first one was the closest, I felt like the last game I managed to get him to do much more work than in the first two, which was promising, because I felt like I got better and better as the match went on, and sticking to my plan was key. Lifting the ball, trying to get it past him, because he's so good across the tee line that he just makes you do so much work, and he's able to finish the ball so quickly with his swing. So if you're not getting that ball past him consistently and getting him to the back wall and then looking to take your opportunities, then you're just not going to get in front of him. So that was another great learning experience. And yeah, that pretty much sums up Gouna. I stayed on for a couple of days to soak up the atmosphere, have a look at the glass court. It was a real shame not to get on the glass, but I know that the more matches I get like these, the more I learn, the more experience I get, the better I get, hopefully. And now at my highest ranking of 38. So those couple of wins gave me a nice little boost in the rankings. My next couple of events are the World Championships. Before that, I've got European Championships next week in Zurich with Team England, World Championships in Cairo, and then the British Open in June. So stay tuned for some more content. If you like this style of video where I just go into a little bit of detail about what the tournaments are like, how the matches were, what I felt like, then please comment below, because these videos take a little bit of effort and time, so I much appreciate if you could subscribe, comment, like, share it, whatever. Thanks.